It's your host with the most, Anton from Bytown Boys. We have on deck, we have guestsStuart all the way from Scotland. Shout out Stuart. Micheal, Ottawa's newest YouTuber. And my roommate Steph, who's somewhere in the background. So without further ado, we got about 11 questions to get through to try and plow through. And we're going to have some fun with it. You guys supposedly have answers ready, hopefully. Otherwise, you can just wing it. And we'll just have fun, okay? So anybody want to start first off?
No, you're the host.
Okay, fine. Well, okay,
what's the
Jess, you're
question?
on deck. So, question uno. Ready for this?
Yes.
So, keeping in theme with what's going on in the world, you're in quarantine. But you're in quarantine with 5 other people, and they happen to be footballers. Who are they?
I chose players from Atletico Ottawa. So I chose Ben Fisk, Tevin Shaw, Malik Hamilton, Ricky Gomez, and Antoine Coupland.
All right. The Glaswegian man.
All right, so I went with some Fury Classics because I know these guys were really close friends, and I think it'd be a riot to hang out with them. But Mason Trafford, Nicky Patterson, Richie Ryan, Colin Falvey, and Drew Becky. I know that they were all super tight, and they always had good banter on Twitter. I think they'd be a riot to hang out with during quarantine.
Do you have bail money?
Beers as well with them, no doubt.
I'm more concerned about the bail money with that lot.
All right, Micheal.
Yeah, so I kind of went all over the board with this one. Took some old Fury players plus from some of my favorite players. So I started off with David Egner. Then went to Jordan Pickford, James Milner, because who doesn't want to hang out with James Milner? Then I went with Carl Hayworth. And I went with the only Solon player to play with the Fury, Richie Ryan.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
Steph.
All right. First on the list, Messi. If we're going to be quarantined, he's got the biggest mansion. He's got home theater, spa, gym, indoor footy court. I may not like the guy, but I can hide somewhere away from him for a bit. Social distancing, right? Ronaldinho. Hey, he's been
2 big dogs as well.
Hey, there you go, even better. Ronaldinho, well, he's been in trouble with the law lately, but hey, you know what we can get from Brazil? Food, drugs, what's needed. Joey Barton. He got banned from Newcastle. Apparently, he drove his Aston Martin parked on the curb in front of the courthouse. He's got to have some good stories going back eons. Karina LeBlanc, just because she seemed fun and interesting, so
She's
need yeah. And then the Guzman, because I've heard.
He just had a baby too.
Wow. The Guzman, just because I've heard there's a few bad drunken stories between Canada versus Jamaica and then Canada versus Honduras that he was involved in. So, yeah. I don't think there'll be much quarantining. There might be fights or talks. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, you went completely off the board there. That was just fun.
Cool.
All right.
So let's say the stars align. Okay, we'll go reverse order. So Steph, you're on deck.
Okay.
Say the stars align, and you're the one with the magic wand who gets to choose 2 non-PC play-by-play announcers for football. Who would they be?
Bob Memory and Andy Gray.
Okay, any reasons
Bob
why?
Memory, if you guys haven't seen his memes videos on YouTube, swearing total dick. Oh my God, he kicked the ball over the field. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he's trying out for the NFL, but he fucked up there. And Andy Gray, well, he got fired from BBC for making a sexist remark off camera about female ref. So if you want non-PC,
Very stiff answer.
non-PC.
Michael.
Yeah, so with me, I don't really care. I mean, I've never been really into commentators. No matter what sport I watch, I don't pay attention to who's talking to me. I look for flaws in what they say. So as long as they're knowledgeable, I don't care. I mean, like, tell me what I'm seeing, but don't be an idiot about it. Because if you are, I will point it out. But if you're knowledgeable, I won't even know who you are. So, yeah, that's a boring answer for me, but I don't care.
Stuart.
All right, so I went with two English legends. One in the commentary world and one was a former player. I went, yesterday was the 10-year anniversary of Chris Kamara's favorite moment where he forgot or didn't see that a red card had happened. So I think he would be a riot to have. And beside him, I would put Paul Gascoigne because I think he would just have no filter, but would have so much insight, and it would just be great.
You're gonna watch the grass grow, might as well laugh, right?
Exactly.
When I watch football, I don't actually pay attention to the commentators. I just pay attention to what's going on the field. So I don't have an answer for this one.
That's okay. That's fine. All right. So, Stuart, assuming Saskatoon and Quebec are joining CPL along with Ottawa, so which team in CPL would have the biggest scandal and what would it be?
You said Saskatoon. So
Well, Saskatoon and Quebec City.
I decided.
And then, of course,
Yeah.
Ottawa, because we haven't started yet.
But I'm going to go with Saskatoon because that's an option. And I think the big scandal there would be a farmer accidentally plants crops in the pitch right before the season's supposed to kick off. And delayed at the beginning of the season because they're arguing over the land, and the plants are already planted. So that's what I think would be the big scandal. And that's where.
Michael?
I think it has to be us now. I mean, I think we'll have the biggest scandal. I mean, it's just what last year when our pitch was set on fire. I mean, something like that's going to happen again, and you know it's going to be from one of us. What it will be, I don't know, but it's going to be some drunken idiot doing something. I bet you.
Okay.
Making fun of me.
He didn't start the fire. Jessica.
I'm going to go with Quebec City.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you what would happen, but I think something, I guess, drunk is going to happen with Quebec City.
Something related to Red Bull crashed ice.
So more or less, either bring Simon and Phil to Quebec City, but don't give them alcohol or anything, or just give it and run away and let them start the fire.
All right, Steph.
It'll be Ottawa. Sex scandal. 613-867-5309. Remember Ashley Madison leak? According to the stats, 21.5% of Ottawa's population at the time was on that server. Like, come on, we got the numbers in our favor. It's going to be a sex scandal. But also, I was laughing at earlier with Jess's answer, Antoine Copeland. He's a minor. Recently, there's a lot of teacher-minor student stories going around. Minor, young lad, he's decent looking, he's fit. You know.
Stop. You're going too far now.
Stacy's mom, like Jesse's girl, come on.
I only just found out Stacy's mom actually passed away. Like a while back.
Oh, yeah, I wrote the song.
And the guy who sang it also recently passed too.
Wow.
I don't know. All right. So away from the morbidness, Steph. So since Atletico Madrid have a women's side, now could this potentially spark rumors of W League coming back?
Not likely. NWSL numbers are dire if you take away Portland and Utah. If Atletico Ottawa's gonna be involved in the women's league, I suggest piggybacking that league just to start growing the interest, like MLS did with Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. At the moment, the investment's not there. Well, I remember W League here in Ottawa when we were at Algonquin. We were lucky to get 200 people there a game. So the numbers aren't low. When it comes to doing a whole new league, you're looking at how much time people have, how much income, discretionary income's available, and what are your competing events. So if they were going to go into that route, I would suggest if they're willing to spend the money to go into a women's league, piggyback with the States. And as the Canadian Premier League grows and more teams are interested, be willing to jump back to Canada to start the W League in Canada. It's hard to push it, but it is what it is. As I put down here, you're not going to buy a Lambo if you know the roads are shit, so you can't drive on it. Like, you got to see what the market's available, how it is before you invest. So I think they can do it, but I would go the NWSL route first.
Jess?
Yes. I can see it's not going to happen now, maybe in the future, having a women's league, but in the past we've always had trouble getting people out to the football games, so I can see that being an issue right now, is not a lot of people.
Right. Stuart?
I don't see it happening necessarily in the next year or two, maybe 3-4 years. But if there is going to be a CPLW team, I think owners from Madrid could be the ones who maybe support it the most and who back it the most and who maybe invest in it a bit. Because if you've seen what goes on in Madrid, they have tens of thousands of people line their streets for the their women's club team when they win trophies. And I think they definitely believe in women's ball, and I think Canada has great, women's program. So I can see if it does happen in the future, I think Atletico Madrid will be the kind of helping the driving force behind it of all the ownership groups that are they'd probably be the most willing to invest in it and see the most potential out of it.
Micheal?
Yeah, basically to build on what everyone else said, I don't think we're there yet. I think it will happen. I think they want to establish more of a stronger CPL league before they branch off into something like the women's. I just don't think we'll be the driving force behind it. I think we may jump on the wagon, but I don't think we'll be the start of the wagon.
All right. And Micheal, was it a wise move to hire a Spanish coach over a Canadian one, or does it even matter?
Yeah, why not? I like it. It brings something different to the game, and obviously this is a league to grow Canadian players and Canadian talent, and obviously that means Canadian staff. But at the same time, when our owners are Spanish, they're going to look where it's familiar, and they're going to go where they think that's going to excel in the league. I think we just need to focus on our own team, and people won't like what we've done, I'm sure, but I love the fact that we're going to do something different. I mean, Canada is all about being different and coming from all over the world, right? So embrace it in the league as well.
Stuart?
Yeah, I think I think Mista was an interesting choice. He hasn't coached at this level before, but at the same time, if Madrid are going to be going through with signing quite a few Spanish players, having that influence in on the team, then they're definitely going to need a coach that can speak to them. And I think implementing the system that Atletico Madrid has, I think Mista probably knows it very well, having played there, and is able to reinforce the kind of conversation between the club in Ottawa and the club in Madrid. So hopefully that leads to places. I think Ben Fisk coming in is a great option because he speaks Spanish, and I mean, I'm guessing he'll probably be the captain, so he'll be able to communicate with both the coach and the English-speaking players. So I think it's a good move. I think it's interesting to not go with a Canadian, but at the same time, other clubs in the league don't have Canadian coaches either, and they did very well. So,
Jess?
I think it's a good move. I'm interested to see what Mista brings to the team and the chemistry between all the players, and I'm looking forward to the season starting, hopefully this year.
Steph?
My real issue is not whether he's Spanish or Canadian. He could be from Zimbabwe. I really don't care. As long as he can communicate with the players. I don't care if he speaks the language from the tribe, from the gods must be crazy, as long as he's willing to do the work and do the communications. It comes to translation. My analogy, my favorite one, eggnog, lait du poulet, chicken milk. In the end, as long as the coach can communicate to the players what is needed and the players can talk to each other, they can speak Klingon for all I care. As long as he can do the job, that's what I want. Mark DeSantos, because he was trilingual, people were going on about that. It didn't impress me. His work did. How he got the team together, team working, how he stood by his team impressed me. And that's what I want to see from Mista. If he can't say hello properly in English, I don't care, as long as he's sincere in his work. That's what counts for me.
All right, Steph, to continue on now, does Ottawa actually have any expectations heading into their inaugural season? And if so, is it because of the Atletico name that's attached to it, or do we have to see a full squad, come to fruition?
Well, yes and no. The name will get people in the door. I don't know if it'll keep them in the building. That's the main thing. Is people have heard Atletico Madrid bought a team in Ottawa. They're thinking, great, Atletico Madrid's going to come to Ottawa. No, they just put their name brand. During the whole press conference, it was name brand, the Atletico brand being mentioned nonstop. So that's a big part of this situation. So as long as they don't finish last, and how was it Dwayne, my coworker, put it one year when Cleveland Browns lost all their games they lost all their games, but they were in it till the end. Like, they didn't lose by 3 touchdowns. They lost by less than a touchdown. So as long as you're fighting, that's what I care about. It's my old analogy when I used to coach. If you win 5-1 or lose 5-1, if you come off the field looking like you died, that's what I want.
Jess?
That was the same thing that I was thinking, STephane, is I think there's a little bit of expectation from the team because of the name brand, but I think as long as they are continuously fighting, they are continuously working and trying to score the goals and trying to work as a team, I think that the expectation won't be as high.
Stuart?
I think what you saw what happened with Ottawa Fury, where they were kind of hit and miss in the first season, but came back the second season a lot stronger, almost with a very similar core of players. So I'd be okay with, as Jess and Stéphane said, having a team that's, as long as they're battling to the end and showing that they want to be there. But with whatever kind of season we have ahead of us, I think it almost might help Ottawa Fury, or Atletico Ottawa. I'm going to be doing that a lot, by the way. It's probably going to be good for Atletico Ottawa to have a kind of a level playing ground, because none of the other teams have had a chance to have a proper preseason, and they have a lot of players they have to integrate as well. So in the long run, I think, I don't want to say expectations are higher, but I think it might play in Ottawa's favor that the league might be kind of shorter this year, if it happens at all.
Micheal?
I don't know if expectations are the right word, because I don't think us as fans have expectations of the team. We're just happy to get a team in the league. But I think throughout the CPL, teams are going to be looking at us, hoping we lose. I don't think that they're so happy how we came into the league with money from Madrid and whatnot. So I don't know if it's expectations, but I think they want to see us lose. So I think the expectation for us isn't really to win, but it's to kind of hopefully prove other people wrong and that we are a team to be in the CPL and compete.
So, Stuart, are there any players of ours that we've signed so far that you're excited to see? Any expectations of them?
So I was actually really excited to see Ben Fisk just because he's from British Columbia and he's playing for Pacific FC, so that's kind of his hometown club, and he is willing to come play for us. But then last week we signed, I'm not sure I'm going to pronounce this right, but Acuna, Mexican, and he's played a lot of time in the La Liga, and I'm kind of excited to see him play. I hope he brings some quite a lot of experience at a decently high level and brings that up here and impresses us.
Steph?
Antoine. That's what I want to see. I want to see him get some real playing time. None of this 15, 10 minutes. I want to see at least 20 and a half hour minimum. I don't want to see him being signed as a marketing gimmick, marketing hack. I want him signed as in he has potential. Let's use him. I think his only real full game was the friendly against Montreal Impact that I didn't go to because I was just tired.
Were you done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Micheal?
One of the players that stands out to me is Tevin Shaw. Just the fact that he's played his whole professional career in Jamaica. And, I mean, no one here, I think, maybe other than Steph, knows what the Jamaican League is like. So,
dude, when I was down there, I didn't know what the Jamaican League was like.
Exactly. My point is, like, we bring in an international player with Tevin Shaw. And if we're going to use an international roster spot on him, I'm really interested to see how he adapts to the CPL. And it also shows us if we do well in the CPL, we go to CONCACAF tournaments, how will can we perform at that level as well? So he's one player that stands out for me.
Jess?
Everybody. I don't have a specific player. I'm just looking forward to whether it's this season and it's a short season, or we don't have a team, or we don't have a season until next year. I'm just glad we have a team back. And so I'm kind of looking forward to see everybody and see what they can do.
Cool. All right. Last serious question before all the fun stuff. Stuart, I'll start with you. So since the leagues worldwide pretty much have pressed pause on their season, is it fair to declare winners now regardless of relegation promotion type thing, or what are your thoughts?
Well, putting it out there just so people know my bias. Obviously, I'm a Rangers supporter, and I wouldn't like to see Celtic be handed the title. But at the same time, I'm also a Liverpool fan, and I do want to see them be handed the title. So basically, what I think should happen is should probably maybe wait another couple weeks to see if it looks like there'll be a chance of continuing by the end of June. And if not, I think it's important they find a right way to finish a season that has nothing to do with the champions, but has more to do with the people getting relegated. And for instance, I know Anton, Stéphane, both Aston Villa fans.
Yeah.
As it is right now, you guys would be relegated, but you guys have a game in hand. If you won that game, you wouldn't be relegated. And likewise, Sheffield United have a game in hand, and if you won that game in hand, it would put them into 5th. And because Man City doesn't get a Champions League spot next year, they would get a Champions League spot. So they go from having, no extra money coming in the league to having the millions that come with the Champions League. So it's very hard to decide how that happens, whether you make it an average points over the season, points per game, and then average it out that way. But I don't think there's a right answer. I think you're going to piss off someone no matter what you do, and I'm going to be pissed off no matter what happens. So.
All right, Jess.
My answer to this question is no. I just don't think it's fair. So I think that maybe they should just hold off on relegating and promoting this season, and to start fresh next year with the teams that are in the league as they are.
Steph?
Stuart hit on it. Villa fan. I don't really want to see it ended, but there's games we should have won. There's games that we shouldn't have lost. But one side of it, since I've been following the English league like hardcore since 2010, I'm kind of sick of Liverpool fans. This is our year. Every year, it's their year. Like, I mean, a broken clock is twice, right? Is right twice a day. How do you support that? But you know what? They do play well. I think they do deserve that title. So I'm gonna have to say these are the rules. Unfortunately, ended. The Belgian league ended it. So Club Brugge is now the champions of the Belgian league. I think Jonathan David got the golden boot for the league as well with his goals and assists. So you know what? If we're gonna end it, let's end it and just accept it. Because how many teams in lower leagues have invested money and worked so hard to get into their nice promotion spots where they are now? Is it fair to them because some big clubs want, oh, I might get relegated, so let's not end the league? No, it's not only you. There's other leagues involved. It's not only one part. It's so many parts that end it and play fair to everybody.
Michael?
I think when we're talking about trophies, you got to give it to the people at the top of the league. I think for the most part, in most of the leagues, the number one team is quite a bit ahead. So I don't think there'll be that much dispute. Obviously, when it comes to promotion relegations across Europe and wherever, it gets a little bit more difficult. The question I have, though, is sure, you can throw teams down and throw them up, but what about the teams that qualify for playoff spots to go up? How do you deal with the playoffs? Do you just give it to the top team that's in the number one seed playoff rank? I don't think there's an easy answer for rock, paper, scissors, flip a coin.
Yeah, why not? You're going to be stupid. Let's be stupid.
I don't think there's an easy answer for promotion relegation. One thing I read that England was talking about doing was keep everyone the way it is, but next year form will go down and form will come up. Maybe that's a way of doing it.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to that, but I think that. Sorry, sir.
Another way I've seen things going is basically they want to have it so that maybe next year the league would have 2 extra spots, so that way 2 teams can come up, but no one gets relegated.
Okay, yeah.
And then the year after it would be 2 extra teams get demoted down, and then it goes back to 20. I've seen that discussed, but I don't know if it's going to happen or not.
But that would also mean more games, and people already complain about cup games. Do they want to throw more season games in there as well?
Exactly.
Both of our,
What was that?
so I'm in my room. Anton's in the living room. We both have our windows open, and our upstairs neighbor just walked by yelling in French.
Anyways, thank you for that. Yeah, I think I don't know if most teams would be okay with playing. I know it's only like 2 extra games or 4 extra games in the season, but when you have cup matches in there and you're looking at teams that are also in Europe playing for the FA Cup, the Caribou Cup, that's a lot. 4 games is a lot more than just, it's only 4 extra games. So I'm not opposed to the idea, but I don't think that will work just because of that.
Okay. Did I miss anyone for that question?
Nope.
No, we're good?
Yep.
Okie dokie. Oh, I'm trying to think in my head now. All right, Steph. All-time ideal starting 11 of current players right now.
I don't have ideal. I have interesting. I don't know will it work. Will it be a train wreck? Who knows? But it was fun. Jan Oblak, keeper. He plays for Atletico Madrid. Why not? Defense, Thiago Silva, Cal Walker. He played for Villa on loan for half a season. He scored a great goal. Tyrone Mings, just because he's got a personality. And on the field, in midfield, Alphonso Davies, Zebuela, McGinn, and Vardy. Then Grealish, Giovinco, and Steven Burgess.
Cool. Jess.
I have Max Crepeau as keeper. Defense, Oswaldo Alanis, Jonathan Bornstein, Laurent Simon, Jake Nurinsky. Midfield, Alfonso Davies, Kevin Molino, and Richie Larea. And then forwards, I have Harry Kane, Kylian Mbappe, Rafa Silva, and that's it.
3 games in, you'll lose a striker. You got Harry Kane.
Fine.
Michael.
Yeah, so I kind of like changed this answer for me. I actually wrote down who I would prefer to start, but I was like, you know what? I don't like doing this, so I actually put the starting 11 of players I've seen live because they're all pretty much still playing. So in nets, I have Schmeichel.
Nice.
Defense, I have Simpson, Maguire, O'Shea, and Davies. Midfield with Hutchison, Arfield, and Albrighton. And then my strikers would be Morales and DeVoe and Fardy.
When did you see Albrighton play? Was he with Leicester then?
Yeah, I saw him play with Leicester against Newcastle.
Okay, because, he left Villa to go to Leicester. Smart move on his part.
No one wants to go to Newcastle. And
unless they
Stuart.
lose.
All right, so I went with Maxim Crepeau in net, Ashley Lawrence, Colin Falvey, Rafael Alves, and Drew Becky on the back line. I had Julian de Guzman, Richie Ryan, and Diane Matheson in the midfield. And then up front, I would have Jonathan David, Carl Howarth, and Tommy Heineman. And all of those players have played in Ottawa at some point in their career.
Nice.
So Shorty McGee's on your squad?
Yeah.
I think you were the only one without Davies as well. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I didn't have Davies, but he made his debut, his professional debut in Ottawa, but he never actually played here. So mine was very specific for that.
Yeah, okay.
Very interesting. Okay. Let's go with Michael. Most overrated Canadian national player of all time.
Of all time, I've only been watching Canada for probably about the last 6-7 years, I think it was, basically since I've met you guys. And so I made
that trip to Montreal?
Yeah, trip to Montreal, Women's World Cup against the Netherlands.
Or you forgot the tickets.
Yeah. Well, not me. Anton did. So that's basically since I've been following Canadian soccer. So my player on this list is one player I never understood why he was ever on the roster because I never liked watching him, and it was Ricketts. Ricketts just reminded me of a really crappy Sterling, and like his touch is terrible. He was called up to the last team. I never understood why. I think he scored recently as well. Good for him, but Ricketts is just a guy I do not like. I mean, I think he's doing pretty well in Vancouver, but I don't know. Ricketts is I know. I mean, it was either him or Lauren really with me.
To flip a coin.
Yeah, but Ricketts ultimately, because he's one guy I find myself yelling at the TV quite a bit about.
Oh, okay. Jessica?
This was a tough one. I don't really have an answer for this because I've only gone to a handful of Canada games with some of you guys, and I do have watched on TV when I haven't been able to go, but I couldn't really decide on one player and specifically.
No?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Stuart.
Michael already kind of mentioned mine very quickly. I went with Kyle Larin. I think he had a really good 2015. He scored most of his goals in that year. I think he was highly rated. He was at Orlando playing in the MLS, great level. And then he had the whole drunk driving charge, and then he got shipped out to Turkey, and then now he's out on loan somewhere else. So I think he's a bit overrated. I think I don't want to say his career's fallen apart, but I think that stuff outside of the games probably had an impact on his career. Probably why he wanted to go to Europe. He probably also saw it as a step up. He's going to join in Tiba Hutchinson, but still, I think he had a lot of potential, and I don't think he's living up to it at all. And I think compared to how he was rated, 18 to 24 months ago, I think he's very, very overrated.
I agree.
And Steph.
All right, before we continue, Jess, what do you mean? You've been to Canada games with all of us.
Sorry.
So, women's Germany, Micheal was there, but not Stuart.
Nope.
Jamaica, they were both there at the game.
Yep.
You've been to games with all of us. Come on.
She wasn't
Like,
there for sleeping bags.
Yeah, no, she was never there for fucking bags. All right, so overrated. Yeah, I was gonna say D-Ro. No, actually, no, I like D-Ro, so I won't say D-Ro. I'm going with Sinclair. Yeah, she can put numbers up. 2011, she's 28. She scored the only goal for Women's World Cup for Canada. 2012, at the London Olympics, she scored half all Canada's goals. 2015, Canada only scored 4 goals. She scored 2 still, half the goals. 2016 Olympics, she scored 3 out of 10. And the 2019 Women's World Cup, 4 goals. She scored half of them. She's a good striker, but the thing is, her age is not helping her. It's not helping the team. Striker's a young person's position. So 28 going on into your 30s, you should be slowly pulling back into an attacking midfielder role. But
She's not 30 yet?
No, she was 36 last year, so she's going to be 37 this year.
Do you think
Oh,
that's fair, though, to judge her on her age? I mean, if you look at her prime, do you say she's overrated?
No, not at her prime, but the way she's been sold to us constantly. It's like, yeah, she's a great player. She's a mainstay. This is amazing, but why is she in that striker role when she should be slowly pulling back into the attacking midfielder, pushing the ball forward? She's got that leadership. She can hold the ball,
ever, in my
should be
opinion.
moving forward, not she'd be pushing the game forward, not leading it, as it were. She should be artillery, not infantry.
I agree. Last couple of years, I don't agree with her role on the team, but I wouldn't say she's overrated either, just because what she's done for the country.
I find she's overrated now. It's because they all talk about her nonstop versus, okay, what about the other players?
Because she sells tickets.
Yeah, that's why I call her overrated. I look at like great marketing. What about Becky? Fleming? What about those ladies? They don't deserve a spotlight for what they're doing recently. Here's our golden ticket from the past. We don't know how to sell the new ones. Let's use it again. That's my overratedness.
Cool. Last question. We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Jess, you're going to kick it off.
Okay.
Last question of the day. Favorite BBSC memory of all time?
I have 2. So my first memory is about 5 years ago. STephane took me to my first Fury game. And that's where I met a lot of you. I already knew Anton, but I believe I met you guys that day, and you guys made me feel very welcomed into the family. And that's where I fell in love with supporter culture, and I haven't stopped going. I continue to go. And my other favorite memory is this past year. STephane nominated me for president, and I am the president of the Bytown Boys. And I love it.
Good. Salute to the press. STephane.
I got a few. So third, the time the whole team gangbanged you in full view of the whole section. Stuart was taking pictures that game. I remember according to Stuart, he was yelling at him, "Go to the section!" Of course, he's on the wrong side of the field.
Best goal celebration of all time, that one.
And then the next one, hold on, was the trip when we won the game to go to New York. How everybody looked at me. Do we storm the field? Go! Fucking go! Don't look at me. But I'm tied on 2, and it's more personal. It's my father's funeral, where there was more or less a supporter section. Like, how do we not have flags and drums? Like, seriously. And when the group decided to name the Player of the Year award after my father, those two, yeah, they're interlinked, so that's why I said there's a tie. But this group, yeah, I've had great times.
Michael.
Yeah, so Steph kind of touched on the two I had written down. And one of them was what I have it written down as when Anton in that picture with the yellow sweater. So when you Stu took the picture of you and the guys coming up behind you, that was a great picture and it was a great moment. And another one was storming the pitch after we beat Minnesota. There's a picture of me, my brother, and Namu storming Pizer. So it's really, like Steph mentioned, like people looked at him. Do we run ahead? They probably looked at him because 3 of us were already on the field. And that was great. It was a great time. And moments like that. I mean, back then, we had like 10,000 people at that game. It was mental, and hopefully we can get that back.
Yeah.
And Stuart, all the way from Glasgow, man. What's yours?
All right, I also did kind of like a top 3. So number 3 would be the final in New York. It was right after that big attack in Paris. And obviously Romuald Pazer is from France. And the fans had all organized, it was mostly Andrew at the time from Bytown Boys, had organized all the banners being held up to make the French flag. And that was a good moment, but the best moment was, I think it was after the game, we had lost. And Romuald Pazer still goes over to the fans and applauds them with tears in his eyes. And it was simply because of what the Bytown Boys and what the supporters had created in that display to support him before the match. I thought that was a great moment. So that's number 3. Number 2, Canton, New York. We all did that little road trip together for a preseason friendly. That was just a great time. I mean, we drove for hours down to New York State just to see a preseason friendly. Unfortunately, Phil Davies broke his leg that day, and I remember we were probably about, like 60, 70 yards away.
Yeah.
And you could hear the crack.
Oh.
So that was, I don't want to say not Phil Davies getting injured, but just that whole trip was a lot of fun going down to Syracuse.
That was Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Syracuse, yeah.
It was against Syracuse.
It was a great time.
Syracuse
and then my number one memory is the Vancouver win. When we beat Vancouver at home in the Voyageurs Cup, I don't think anyone was expecting that. Johnny Steele scored a great goal.
Beauty goal.
A picture with STephane. Stephane's looking up at the big screen because we had just scored, and he's looking over to see the replay. And the rest of us are all kind of looking this way, and I just had my arms up in the air, and I'm just like, and I think it's just a hilarious moment. It's a good time, and it was an unreal night. And I'd actually purchased tickets to go to Vancouver. My wife had bought them for me earlier that day. And if we had lost that match, we would have been pretty much out of the cup, and it would have been almost a pointless trip in terms of us winning, going to Vancouver. But we had actually won the game, and it made my trip to Vancouver to go see Fury play just unbelievable. We were right in it to the last minute. Unfortunately, they didn't go through.
Well, it's been fun. This was a fun episode. It's first for us. We're using Zoom and recording this as we're all in our separate countries, rooms, homes, whatever. Shout out to STephane for putting this all together. Stuart from Long Distance, man. We wish you and Jillian and the dogs nothing but the best. Jess, our president, and Ottawa's best YouTuber in my heart, Micheal. Thank you guys so much, and hopefully we can do more of these.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
It's not like we're going anywhere.
Come up with more questions. We'll do it.
I got you. I'll come up with all 10 if you need me to.
Coolio. All right. Signing off, guys. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.